Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Living on Lemonade podcast. I'm your host, Lauren. It is Monday, so I'm pumping this episode out shortly. I'm between night shifts, and anyway, I was contemplating not recording this week, but there is a topic that I want to talk about, and I think it's a good one that is important. So I do want to get it out for those who are ready to listen to it, and hopefully it helps. The little bit of backstory is I've had a couple conversations with friends lately, and there's a recurring theme of just how chaotic life is. And a couple of them are going through some big shifts in multiple ways, which can be really overwhelming to the human and affecting multiple areas of their life and their health. So I thought I would just record an episode, hopefully. I always say this, but fingers crossed, bit of a shorter episode. I do have notes, especially because being in between night shift, if you've been listening to me for a while, sometimes my brain just kind of goes a little bit blank. So if there's like a bit of a pause in the recording, sometimes I just need to kind of recalibrate a little bit, or if I get a little worked up with whatever I'm talking about and excitement, just need to take a breath, and that's totally cool. It's yeah, I don't plan to ever edit that out because it's just me showing up as a human and really walking the talk in those moments of just needing to kind of re-regulate, or just get my brain bouncing around again. Okay, so looking at my notes, talking about those times when life feels very topsy turvy, off kilter, chaotic, not sure where to look. You've got life is lifing, things are coming from every angle, not just left field. These are just kind of different ways to articulate this, and just really overwhelming and hard to navigate. This is kind of acute. This is what I would say is acute stress moving into more chronic, especially if it's the time period is being stretched, right? Because realistically, those acute fight or flight responses are meant to be short-lived to get us out of imminent danger, and then we reconnect back with our environment, titrate and reorient to, in order to kind of get back into that more parasympathetic response, that rest and digest. Now, when big life things happen, we have, and it's a little bit different for everyone, just depending on our past experiences and kind of how we were brought up in our environment, but we have coping mechanisms. And sorry, keep yawning. Thought I was good. We have coping mechanisms exactly for this purpose, to get us through these wild times and to keep us alive. I can say from in-depth experience, I am very aware of some of my survival patterns and what that looks like when life is just kind of unrecognizable, right? And just very ungrounded, unstable, and uncomfortable and unnerving. These survival patterns are different behaviors that we do. It can be numbing through doom scrolling, Netflix, just kind of zoning out. It can be drinking, uptaking alcohol or recreational or whatever drugs. One of mine when I'm hitting like a low point and things feel overwhelming, I kind of go into like a freeze shutdown state in my nervous system, and I have to be mindful because I will start sleeping a lot. And although it in some ways is okay because it gives my system a bit of a rest, it's a slippery slope. So I think it's important. One of the first kind of points I have here, and I have like kind of steps as well as some ideas for tools to be discovered, explored, practiced, embodied. And the first thing, in terms of in the moment, we can look at like the moment by moment stuff to become mindful and aware of it, but we can also look at the bigger picture, like what are the patterns that we naturally slide into when life gets crazy, because it's easy to have these great practices and routines when life's going well, but at least from my experience, I've noticed that oftentimes, and this is something that I'm very consciously working on to break the pattern because I've been doing it all my life. When we get into these seasons of dysregulation, of this chaos, however you want to describe it, those kind of helpful routines, the, eating really well, exercising, really to those activities and such to keep ourselves resourced and thriving are often the first things that get dropped when we go into a place of more of survival. Our brain will immediately kind of switch off and just go to like coasting, cruise control mode. That's what I'm like. I see the button on my oh my gosh, I can't think of words, on my steering wheel. I'm like, I see the button. What's it called? Cruise control. It's like autopilot. Our body and mind kind of go into that survival mode, and the things that took more conscious effort are no longer really considered necessarily unless we like very consciously do it, because our body needs efficiency, our nervous system needs efficiency in order to survive whatever we're going through, whether it's imminent or not. Our body doesn't know the difference. So stress from work, stress in personal life, our body can perceive it as the saber-toothed tiger chasing us for, days, weeks, months on end, not knowing that realistically we're not actually in imminent danger, but our body's acting that way and pumping all these stress hormones and such through it, right? So I would invite you, if you're in a season of higher stress, make some time. I know it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm contradicting myself, because like the whole thing is we don't feel like we do, and we feel rushed and everything just feels wild. But the first thing we really need to do if we want to shift this and build resiliency and put the tools in place, and I'll get into that shortly, we have to see what we're looking at first. Otherwise, we're just literally like in the dryer being thrown around by life. So we gotta step out of the dryer first and like look at what's tumbling around in it. Remove ourselves momentarily. That, what I think of first is making a little bit of time, 5 minutes, maybe after this podcast episode ends, or just start to like take some breaths right now. Don't close your eyes or anything if you're driving, but sink in a little bit to your body just as I'm talking. Use this as an opportunity to kind of lean in a little bit. So take a big deep inhale through your nose, hold it at the top for a moment, and then longer exhale start to bring some safety back into your body, this is an opportunity to take a little bit of inventory. Imagine a little bit of a body scan, hand over heart. I'm doing that as I'm talking right now if you're watching the YouTube video. Hand over heart, it connects us back with our physiology, because we feel our hand or hands over that heart center, our chest, connecting with our heart, feeling our heartbeat. It's just bringing us back into the present moment. This is when we set ourselves up to have the opportunity of doing that check-in, and like I said, taking that inventory and seeing what we're looking at. So we have to get quiet. We have to connect back into our body first in order to hear and kind of see what's going on. So once you can ground in a little bit, you can imagine roots coming out of your tailbone if you're seated. If you're standing, out of your feet, going into the earth and grounding into the earth. Wrapping around the core of the earth if you want to, if you really need to feel grounded in, if you feel kind of like, I could describe it as airy-fairy, you feel like your head's kind of spinny and just swirly. Imagine those grounding roots keeping you grounded to the earth and also receiving grounded energy from the earth. You can imagine like the earth feeding you with nice energy. So when we get to that place, kind of step back from the situation a little bit, just enough to see, okay, I think I know where I want to go with this. I have a bunch of notes, so I'm like, it's sorry if it's been a little bit jumbled. First thing we need to look at, basic needs, okay? Because those, like, the rest of the tools are great, but we need to look at if our human isn't being taken care of from a very basic point, the rest of the stuff is not going to be nearly as effective in terms of like nervous system work. So what does your sleep look like lately? Are you sleeping? How much are you sleeping? What is your bedtime routine? Are you doom scrolling, laying in bed before you go to sleep? Because as much as I'm not immune to it, I look at my phone. I look at my phone too. I catch myself. I do try to kind of put it away, and maybe I'll put a podcast on so I'm listening to something as I'm winding down or dozing off, but I try to stay off of actually looking at it because it does stimulate the brain. So even though it feels like we're zoning out, it's actually activating the brain, which will affect our circadian rhythm and ability to sleep. So putting our phone down, especially if we're going through a stressful time, like these are those basic things that we need to really do to set ourselves up to navigate whatever we're going through with more grace and ease. So putting our phone away like an hour before bed to start to activate the sleep event, getting our brain ready and to wind down. Showering or bathing at night, the warm water will activate your parasympathetic nervous system and also help you to get ready for your sleep event, to sleep at night. You could have like a warm beverage. Don't eat too close, because that can, if you eat something big before bed, then your body's going to be focusing on digestion. It can impact your sleep. What else? Just overall sleep hygiene. You can even Google that if you want to do more research. Perhaps not right now because you've got stuff going on if you're in that season, right? So this is more like when things settle. But I just want to give you some things, some tools, some tips, some invitations to be mindful of navigating this season. Sleep. First and foremost. Because that is when our brain does its wash cycle. It's like a washing machine. It does its whole, like, it clears things out. It literally, like, cleans itself and resets. It processes things from the day. It is vital for managing stress and navigating difficult times. Vital. Like, you gotta find a way to sleep. If you're not sleeping and you're going through a stretch of like insomnia, I've had a little bit of that too. It's very unnerving because I'm usually like a pro sleeper. Do you have a doctor? Can you go to a walk-in and get some support? Is there an over-the-counter sleep aid that you can take temporarily? Now, I have my own opinions on big pharma and pharmaceuticals and stuff like that in terms of like long-term, but in my opinion, from my experience, in my belief systems, absolutely they're tools to get us through like acute stress situations, to help us navigate the worst of it when the other things aren't working and we can't get on top of it. Talk to your doctor. Psychologist. Do you have a psychologist or a counselor? I think it's like life coaches and stuff are great, but I think with these very big things, a psychologist is kind of where to go. Having those supports, those external supports to help you navigate, to remind you of the tools, to make suggestions. If you go, like, I know a psychiatrist can write scripts, right? Can give you meds. So if you need that extra support to navigate this, where are you going for it, right? And make sure that you're advocating for yourself, because it's not fun. It's not fun going through it. I'm just going to take a quick look at my notes. So we've got sleep. We've covered sleep. Make sure you're getting sleep. If you need to reach out to external sources, get over the counter, get a prescription, literally, to like, because your body just needs it. It needs it to reset. It needs it to recalibrate, to process things. Sleep. I can never stress the importance of sleep on every day, but especially during the crazy times. Second, movement. Sorry, just one second. I just gotta take a drink of water. Movement. Keeping our body moving in different ways. It can be as simple as like doing stretches in bed, walking around the house a little bit, walking around the block. Not only, it doesn't have to be high intensity, and especially when you're going through a period, like from my understanding, when you're going through a period of like acute chronic stress, doing those higher level activities kicks the nervous system more into that stress response, right? Because you're getting your heart rate up. It's like a simulated stress response. Maybe you're in a season of you just need those like self-regulation movement. And why I advocate for this is, and I need to practice what I preach more. It's one of the things I'm working on, because I stop moving when things are hard. So I'm telling you the journey that I'm on and what I'm learning and why it's beneficial. Not only is walking, there's studies that compare it to EMDR, which is a technique, a practice that you can do with a psychologist or a counselor, like if they're trained in it, to process trauma. It's rapid eye movement and focused eye movement that they lead you through. There are similar benefits, like it gives the brain a similar effect when you're walking to doing EMDR. So it's literally like you're doing your own therapeutic session by going for a walk. It keeps your body moving. It expels excess energy and helps to process the stress hormones that are moving through your body. So it'll help you wind down. I wouldn't say go for a brisk walk right before bed, because you're gonna bump your body and the physiology up, but maybe just a nice gentle walk after work, or kind of to wind down your day. Maybe you just do a nice leisurely walk around the block and take some deep breaths. Allow that to be the time where the things that you've been overriding through your day just to get through it. When the mind gets loud when you lay down, allow that to be the opportunity when those things start popping up. Let it to be while you're moving so your body can process it while you're on the move, right? It's like compounding, putting things together, and it's more efficient that way. That way, when you get back home, or maybe you just walk around the house or your home or apartment or wherever you live, when you finish that, you're just kind of like priming yourself to be ready to sleep. So maybe a lot of those things that your mind wanted to think about or your body wanted to signal you to, that wasn't available to you during the day because you were, going at 60 miles an hour, is now available because you've slowed down. You're kind of like in your body a little bit. You're taking a mindful of your breath, conscious breathing. You're out for a little bit of walk or walking around the house, and those thoughts start to come up. You do a little bit of processing in real time. That way, when you lay down, that you don't have the situation where, now all the thoughts from the day that you weren't available for are now popping up and now you can't sleep. So things to help you prepare for sleep. Same goes for nutrition. How are you feeling your body? It is so natural to want to do takeout and processed meals when things are topsy-turvy. Can say that firsthand. I'll be the first person to put up my hand and admit that, especially when it comes to I love just making a box of Annie's. That's like my quick fix, but my body doesn't love it. Dairy is one of my triggers food-wise, that just when I'm stressed out, dairy and red meat, just I have to be mindful of it. So learning your body, having body awareness, that's kind of a little bit of a side tangent, so I don't really want to go down that way because I do want to stay on topic and kind of keep this going and finish up. But how are you fueling your body? And are you setting yourself up for success so that your body can navigate the season that you're in? Water. It is like life force for us. Our body is made up of 70-80% water. We need it for our cells to function in all the ways, especially our brain. So if you're not drinking water, your body's getting dehydrated. There's ways to check if you're dehydrated. You can Google it. Because again, that's actually, I have a whole podcast episode on, I think it's called Drink Up. I don't remember which episode number it is, but you can scroll back. I did a class on it, so you can, about hydration. So you can listen back to that if you want to, or just do a quick Google. But ways to know that you're dehydrated, ways that it shows up in the body. Do a little bit of this quick search if you have the time. Becoming more body aware allows us to pick up on the subtleties of the communication that our body is giving us earlier, before it gets really loud and chronic illness. But drinking lots of water, make yourself drink water. It'll help your body to function better and to really just be more resilient. And then just eating good things, fresh veggies, all the things, or Google it. What does your body need? Oftentimes when we're craving something, it's because we're deficient in something that the food has. Sugar, maybe if you're craving sugar, when was the last time you ate? That's another common thing that both of my friends that I was talking to that have these things going on, they're like, I was go, and I realized I hadn't eaten yet today. Whew, that's not going to help your human to navigate it, right? And no shame around it. It's just our body goes in, our body and our mind just go into this autopilot mode, right? So it's the way it is. It's the way that our body is designed to just try and survive. But we miss those also basic needs being met, which then just kind of throws us into a bigger spiral. So one thing I told my friend, because we're doing a little bit of a kind of mentoring stuff, but one thing I can share from my experience, because I am that person who will just get up and just start going at 100 miles an hour if I don't if I'm not conscious of it. I commit now to, when I get up, I got my water beside me. I haven't had a bite to eat yet because I got up not too long ago. But typically, if I'm not in between nights and only up for a couple hours, I go and make my protein shake kind of first thing. Even if I'm not hungry enough to start drinking it right away, it's there and it's sitting beside me wherever I happen to be, or wherever I'm going, it's coming with me, so that I have something prepared and I'm ready to drink it when I feel ready. I got my water beside me. I am very consciously trying to practice, like, one of the first things I do is take a big drink of water when I first wake up to kind of get things replenished, because I've been sleeping for however many hours, right? So being mindful of nutrition and what your body's craving and what those foods contain. Now, if it's refined sugar, that's an indication that blood sugar level's low. You need to be replenishing, maybe not in the refined sugar way though, because that's just going to spike your blood glucose and crash later and such. So can you have something that has some complex carbs that will release slower? It'll give you that, it'll bring your blood sugar back up, but not have those like highs and lows and that instability, because that again wreaks havoc on this nervous system, right? So keeping moving, basic needs: sleep, movement, nutrition. Do an inventory, get quiet, take some breaths, ask yourself about those 3 things and what that looks like in your daily life lately. And if one or multiple of them are lacking, this is when we start going into like, okay, what do I need to consciously, because now I'm aware of the deficiency in one of these things and the practices, what are the tools that I need to put into place to support myself in those areas to give me resiliency and the ability to navigate what I'm going through? Like I said before, additional support, psychologist, doctor. What do you need to help facilitate that if you need extra help beyond what you're able to do and what you have access to individually, right? A couple quick tools for you, and I already mentioned a couple of them. Okay, one sec, I'm going to go back just a tad because I had the steps that I want to bring them together. Become aware of what stress looks like in your body. Okay? What does depletion feel like? What does high alert feel like? What are the survival patterns and behaviors that you have when things are stressful? Identify them so that they're in front of you, because once they're in front of you, you can look at them. I'm sorry, I keep burping. And you can actually address them. Become body aware. Know those signals, know those signs. Then the next step is to catch yourself in those moments. Notice that your heart feels like it's racing. Notice that you don't feel connected to your body. I know for me, when anxiety level gets really high, I start to feel like I'm disconnecting from my body. It's really freaky, because then I feel like I'm floating and like witnessing myself from outside my body. It's like, it's wild. But catch yourself in those moments, and the more body aware you are and pattern aware you are, the earlier you will catch yourself, and you'll go, oh, I'm starting to move into that pattern. Like, you get out of bed, or did you get out of bed running, or were you already thinking about the to-do list and go, but wait a second, I gotta get my protein, in my case, gotta get my protein shake made first. That is the first thing I do before I sit in front of my laptop or go out to run errands, like get dressed, like whatever that looks like, right? Before I really start my day. What does that look like for you? What's your typical routine? And what are the things that are currently in place that are not helpful and not serving you? I do want to be mindful of language and not necessarily say like healthy or good or bad, but are they serving you in your health? Are they helpful? Are they moving you towards where you want to be and how you want to live your daily life? So take that inventory in the moment. This is how we interrupt those patterns so that we can take the wheel of the car. Survival patterns, we're sitting in the freaking passenger seat, and those survival patterns are they got the wheel. We have to catch ourselves in those moments and say, actually, no, we're switching because I want to drive, because you're not taking me where I want to go. So you're going to sit in the passenger seat, and only if things get really detrimental do you need to take over. Otherwise, like, I'm driving this bus. So get back in that passenger seat, catch yourself in those moments. And then this is in those moments when you realize it, this is the opportunity to then to break or restructure. And we rewire our brain through these practices. Especially when we really embody and implement them and they start to be our kind of second nature. So quick example, when things get topsy-turvy for me, I now, hand over heart, I go to my breath and I start to change my breathing pattern. It's just something that I do now. I've learned this through years of practice. Wim Hof breath work and doing the cold dips was the biggest catalyst of that learning and that pattern change. But I don't want to get on a side tangent. Put those tools in place. Become aware, body aware, catch yourself in those moments, put the tools in place. What are those tools? What do those tools look like for you? They are going to be really surrounded around our physiology, mental wellness, spiritual wellness. I feel like there's another one I want to say, but I'm blanking. Couple quick examples. Body scan. Do you need to do a body scan? Take a few deep breaths and literally like scan where in your body you're feeling stress, tightness, tension. This builds that body awareness. Hand over heart, connecting back into the present moment, connecting back with your physiology, just giving yourself a second to just kind of be in the moment and catch your breath, and then literally conscious breathing. Taking a deep breath in through your nose, holding it at the top, longer exhale. Allow your shoulders to drop, your tongue to come off the roof of your mouth, your jaw to relax. Those types of things. Do those in those moments. Bring that safety back into your body, because that brings your prefrontal cortex, the problem solving, understanding part of your brain. It brings it back online when you kind of go into that stress overdrive, because bringing that back online allows you to take the wheel. This is like the physiological process of getting back in the driver's seat of your day. EFT tapping is a technique. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. Emotional freedom technique, I think it's called, or tapping. It's tapping on different like meridians on your face, shoulders, kind of your sides. I used it a lot when I was going through a really topsy-turvy era that I wasn't sleeping well. I was very anxious. This was after my dad died and was dealing with family stuff. Very dysregulated. Tapping really helped me. So you can just YouTube it. You could do like tapping for anxiety or tapping for insomnia, whatever's going on. There's going to be a tapping video. If you go to I think there's like an EFT website or the profile on YouTube, they'll have guided tapping sessions and they'll say all the words and you just gotta do the meridians. They'll show you where to tap and what to say and just repeat what they're saying. It's literally like, you don't have to think for yourself. You just follow along, which is really nice. There's an app too. I think it's called Tapping Solutions. So that might be the website, and there's an app, Tapping Solutions, and resources there. So check that out if that resonates with you. Other somatic practices, TRE. I talk about Katie J a lot in her somatic circle. She also has one-off TRE sessions. If you haven't tried TRE and you want to try it, listen to our TRE collab and then reach out to Katie, because you can get your first session free with her. She does allow like a community to join the somatic circle sessions. You can pay kind of a la carte, right, per session, as if you were to get like just pay for a yoga class here and there instead of getting a pass. You can do that with Katie. If you have any questions, let me know, or look back a couple episodes. You'll see the collab there. If you're on my email list, I talk about Katie. I talk about her in the Living on Lemonade community. My mom and I are in the somatic circle. Doing the somatic work has been life-changing in terms of how I'm able to show up in my daily life with more capacity to navigate when things come out of, left field. They don't affect me as much. And TRE, tension trauma releasing exercises, has been a huge part of it. Breath work as well, guided breath work. Katie does that in the somatic circle. So if you're needing additional somatic support, nervous system support, it can feel like when things, it's easy to say when things feel a little bit less chaotic, that's when I'll do that. And it's kind of counterintuitive in a sense, because when we're going through these times, this is when we actually need that support the most. Now, I do understand through my own experience, so I don't want to bypass or discredit. There are situations where like you just need to put the basic needs in, right? Make sure you're sleeping, getting a little bit of movement, especially to prepare you for sleep. And what are you putting in your body to help fuel it for what you're navigating? If you just need to focus on those three and whatever that looks like, fine. When things open up a little bit more and you want to create more capacity, discern. Am I at a point in my journey where it might feel like a little bit of an inconvenience, but I can build that into my day. I can build that hour and a half once a week into that day to help support my nervous system through this. If you're not in total like kind of chaos, damage control, dumpster fire era, you're a little bit out of that and you're trying to build up again. The key is prioritizing those exercises, those activities, those opportunities to support your nervous system, because it really will help you. And then you'll see, at least for me, I've seen the results in so many ways. So I do advocate for that. But I understand when it's literally just damage control, just make sure you're eating, moving, and sleeping. I think I'm going to wrap this up. This has been longer than I anticipated, as always, but there was a lot to kind of pack in. And just I want to acknowledge the nuances and just how nothing's black and white. So I think that's also why this episode was longer, because like this, but then, there's this. So it's going into the different little crevices of the topic, and being trauma informed and just like understanding that it's not a simple matter. So I wanted to touch on different things. I hope it was helpful. I hope it wasn't too long-winded. I need to get off here, take a drink of water, and take a few deep breaths. There was lots packed in. I hope there's something that you can take away with that you can implement into your life. And I want to just finish off by saying, if you're in this season and you're making it wrong, like there's nothing wrong with you. If you're struggling to stay above water mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever that looks like, it's okay. You're a human. We have these things that happen, and sometimes it makes us feel even worse when we're in the throes of it. Doesn't make it wrong. It's just, it is what it is. I'm sending you love. I hope that you can find moments, if this is applicable, to give yourself grace for what you're going through and what you've needed to do in order to survive. If you've had to lean into some of those survival patterns just literally to stay alive, I hope that you can find room in your day to give yourself some grace, to give yourself some love, to give yourself a hug for making it through another day. I certainly know I've had those times when it feels pitch dark, like you're in a cave and there's no exit, there's no opening, there's no light. So I'm sending you so much love, so much support. If you have any questions, if there's something you want to go deeper into, or something you want that I've mentioned before, or you think maybe I know something about, who knows if I do, but let me know. Message me on Instagram. Reach out to me if you've been listening and we haven't met. Say hi. I'd love to meet you and get to be introduced to you. All right. that's it for me. I gotta do a quick turnaround, get a little bit of a snack in before I nap, have a quick shower, fold some laundry, and have a nap before my night shift. So sending you love, take it easy, and we'll talk soon. See you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.